Got the lock. Range 3.9, still closing. Copy. It's just sliding left. Whoa, look at that turn. Yeah, it's pitching up. No wings, no heat plume, nothing. This thing's defying the book, man.
For decades, the whole topic of UFOs, it was basically fringe nonsense, right? Dismissed by pretty much everyone.
Completely. It lived in the shadows of skepticism.
But that's all changed. And today we are doing a deep dive into the official record, tracing how the U.S. government went from just flat-out denial to this grudging acknowledgement of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs.
It's a huge shift. And we're not really debating if they exist anymore. The Pentagon itself has said on the record that these are real physical objects.
And they're operating in restricted U.S. airspace. Routinely.
That's the key. So our mission today is to unpack that. We're going to get into the raw data, the pilot stories that are just mind-blowing, and the tech specs that force the government to finally take this seriously.
Right. And for you listening, our sources are solid. We're talking documented Navy encounters, declassified intelligence programs, and official statements from the Pentagon and the Senate.
This isn't about little green men. It's about a real, documented, and technologically superior presence.
And to understand how we got here, you have to look at the history.
You do. The official position for half a century was essentially nothing to see here. Project Blue Book closed down in 1969.
And the message was, case closed. No more official investigations. Most sightings are just, misidentifications.
But that silence was, well, it wasn't the whole story. The big turning point came with the revelation of ATIP.
The Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, even the name is a mouthful.
It is. This was a classified Pentagon program sponsored by then Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid.
Operating on what, a $22 million budget, basically hidden away in the Department of Defense?
Exactly. And you have to understand its mission. It wasn't philosophical. When Lou Elizondo, a former military intelligence officer, took it over in 2010, his job was simple.
Assess the threat.
Just that. Collect data on these things and figure out if they posed a strategic threat to U.S. forces. It was a pure intelligence operation.
And the characteristics that Elizondo's team found, they're just not compatible with any known technology, ours or anyone else's.
They boiled it down to 5 key observables, 5 core abilities. The performance metrics are maybe the most stunning.
Let's talk about the G-forces. They reported these objects could sustain between 600 and 700 Gs.
And fly at speeds up to 13,000 miles an hour.
Okay, let's just pause on that G-force number. For you listening, a highly trained fighter pilot in a state-of-the-art jet, they blacked out around 9 Gs.
And the jet itself, the most advanced aerospace materials we can build, they start to tear themselves apart at sustained forces over, say, 100 Gs.
So how do you even begin to conceptualize something handling 600 Gs?
You really can't. With our current understanding of physics, it suggests they've mastered something like inertia or gravity itself.
And that leads to the other characteristics.
Right. They can evade radar, they have transmedium capability, so they move between air and water, and maybe even space seamlessly. And the big one?
No propulsion.
No visible means of lift or propulsion. No wings, no heat signature from an engine. Yet they just defy gravity.
So you rule out every normal explanation. It's not a weather balloon, not a drone, not a sensor glitch. And you're left with this technological riddle.
Operating inside our most sensitive military airspace.
Yeah.
And it's not just theory. This is backed up by some truly harrowing eyewitness accounts.
Which brings us to the 2004 Nimitz encounter, the foundational case.
It is. It's so important because you have everything. Top-tier Navy pilots, advanced radar systems, and multiple witnesses.
But let's set the scene. November 2004, about 100 miles off the coast of San Diego, the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group is doing training exercises.
But for 2 weeks before the main event, the USS Princeton, one of the escort ships with incredibly advanced radar, was having problems.
They were seeing what their operators called multiple anomalous aerial vehicles.
And these things were making impossible moves. They'd appear suddenly at 80,000 feet, then drop to 20,000 feet in.
Yeah.
What was it, less than a second?
A drop that should be physically impossible. Then they'd just stop and hover instantly.
So they divert Commander David Fravor. He's an FA-18 squadron commander, a Top Gun graduate. He and his wingman, Lt. Alex Dietrich, go to investigate.
They know something weird is out there, but what they find is, well, it's not an aircraft.
No. The first thing Fravor sees is a disturbance on the ocean. A patch of roiling whitewater, he called it. the size of a 737.
On a perfectly calm day, which is the key detail.
Exactly. And hovering just above this disturbance
Is the Tic Tac, this
Yeah.
little white object. Fravor estimated it was about 40 feet long, totally smooth, no wings, no markings, no exhaust plumes.
And this is where it gets undeniable. Fravor decides to engage, to intercept it. As he spirals his jet down, he sees it reacting to him.
It mirrors his movements. It shows awareness.
It does. So Fravor decides to cut it off. He banks his jet hard to get in its path.
And what happens next is what defines this entire encounter.
It accelerates. Not in a way we understand. It's just
It does.
gone. It disappears.
Vanished from sight. He gets down to where it was. The water disturbance is gone too.
But that's not the end of it. Just seconds later, the USS Princeton radios him,
They've reacquired the target on radar.
60 miles away. At their rendezvous point, the CAP point where Fravor was originally supposed to be.
Let that sink in. 60 miles in less than a minute. That speed is just far beyond what an F-18 can do.
The technological superiority was just there. It was obvious. And it wasn't just him. 4 people, 2 pilots, 2 weapon systems officers saw it with their own eyes for about 5 minutes.
And L-Team Dietrich's comment on it is so powerful. She talked about feeling this profound vulnerability of knowing you have nothing to defend yourself with against that kind of tech.
That feeling of vulnerability is what the scientists picked up on when they started analyzing the actual hard data from the encounter.
Right. This is where the eyewitness account meets a scientific paradox. Physicists like Kevin Knuth looked at the recorded data, the acceleration, and tried to figure out what it would take to make that Tic Tac move the way it did.
And the numbers they came up with were just paradigm shifting. To make those instantaneous accelerations, the object would need something like 13,000 gigawatts of power.
And to put that into perspective for you, that is more than the entire nuclear power output capacity of the United States.
It's an astronomical amount of energy. But here's the paradox.
Right. With conventional physics, if an object that size pulls those moves in our atmosphere, 2 things should happen. You'd get a massive fireball from the friction and heat.
And you would get deafening sonic booms.
But Fravor reported none of that. No fireball, no boom, no exhaust. Knuth calculated the energy release should have been like 250 Tomahawk missiles going off at once.
The fact that it moved without any of those effects, that's why many physicists argue it's not just better tech, it's operating on principles we don't understand. Maybe it's negating mass or inertia somehow.
And this wasn't just a one-off thing in 2004. Let's jump ahead a decade to the Atlantic coast, 2014 and 2015.
This is where former Navy pilot L.T. Ryan Graves comes in. His FA-18 squadron out of Virginia Beach started seeing these UAPs every day for at least a couple of years.
Every day. And this only started after they got a radar software update that was better at tracking small, weird objects.
Imagine that. You're a pilot flying in restricted military airspace, and you just know there's something else flying around with you, something you can't identify, and it's there all the time.
And we have the videos from that time. The gimbal and go fast videos the Pentagon officially released.
Captured off the coast of Florida. You can see the objects rotating, moving against 120-knot winds with, again, no visible exhaust. It just defies our understanding of lift.
And Graves really nailed the problem. He said pilots think it's a threat observation program.
His point was, if these were Russian MiGs, it would be a massive issue. There'd be an immediate military response.
But because they look like Tic Tacs instead of jets, the problem was just ignored by the higher-ups.
And that institutional dismissal, that's what really fueled the push for transparency. ATIP's funding was cut in 2012. The program was buried.
Elizondo kept it going on his own time, but he eventually quit in 2017 out of sheer frustration. He felt the Pentagon was willfully ignoring a clear threat.
So the system was blocked, which led to a deliberate leak.
Engineered by Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. He was worried this crucial data was just being locked away.
So as a private citizen, he surreptitiously acquired the declassified Navy videos, the Tic Tac footage, gimbal, go fast, and he leaked them to the New York Times.
An incredible move. He basically forced the issue into the public square to get it on the national security agenda.
And it worked. The political heat from that leak was immense. By August 2020, the Pentagon had to respond. They created the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, or UAPTF.
Which has now evolved into AAR, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
And this is when Congress finally got seriously involved. Senator Marco Rubio, after getting classified briefings, became a key player.
His concern was very straightforward. He said these things are not ours.
Which means they could be advanced surveillance tech from a rival, like China or Russia. The question shifted from, are they real, to whose are they?
So he demanded an unclassified report from the Director of National Intelligence.
And that June 2021 report was fascinating. It looked at 144 incidents, and while it didn't give many answers, it was officially candid.
It had 5 possible categories for explanation, right? Airborne clutter, atmospheric phenomena, secret, U.S. tech.
Foreign craft, and then this catch-all other category.
But the big takeaway was what it ruled out. In 143 of the 144 cases, they said the UAPs were very likely physical objects.
Detected by multiple sensors, so not just glitches or errors, and only one case was explained away as a weather balloon.
Now, we have to be fair and bring up the skeptical counterpoint.
Absolutely. The main technical one is the possibility of electronic warfare, or EW.
Can you explain that quickly, what that means?
Sure. EW is basically about messing with an enemy's sensors. You can jam them or, more sophisticatedly, spoof them.
So you could make it look like an object is moving at impossible speeds.
Precisely. You could inject false data into our radar systems to make a slow-moving drone look like a hypersonic Tic Tac. It's a real capability, and it absolutely has to be ruled out.
Which is why the investigation is so critical, and it is ongoing. David Fravor, just in 2023, testified before Congress and stood by his story. He said the technology he saw was far superior to anything we have today.
And yet, the secrecy continues. The Navy has admitted it has more UAP footage, but when they got a FOIA request, they refused to release it.
Citing national security harm, they said releasing it could reveal our own capabilities and vulnerabilities to adversaries.
So the cover-up, if you want to call it that, has shifted. It's not about denying they exist. It's about protecting what we might know about them.
So to sum it up for you, we have this decades-long denial that just crumbled under the weight of evidence-credible pilots, incredible sensor data, and a persistent presence in our skies.
And the core insight here is that we are looking at real, physical objects that operate in ways that seem to completely rewrite our books on propulsion and aerodynamics.
And while, some people on Capitol Hill might still giggle at the topic, Senator Rubio's push makes it clear this is a profound security vulnerability, whether it's from another country or somewhere else.
Let me just leave you with this final thought, bringing it back to that energy paradox with the Nimitz. The math says that Tic Tac needed more power than all of our nuclear plants combined, but it produced no heat, no sonic boom. If that's real, and not some kind of deception, the breakthrough isn't just a better engine, it's a fundamental way to control inertia and air resistance itself, a technology that would rewrite physics. What does it mean if that engineering limit has already been broken?
Got the lock. Range 3.9, still closing. Copy. It's just sliding left. Whoa, look at that turn. Yeah, it's pitching up. No wings, no heat plume, nothing. This thing's defying the book, man.